Hello YouTube, welcome back to another episode. Here we go. Okay, so first right off the bat we have this bus lane bandit. Now this is not an HOV lane if you look at the sign up top. So if you're turning from this lane, you're good to go. But this fella's not turning. He's going to be weaving in and out of traffic up front, as you'll see in a second. So that is illegal, ticketable offense, automatic fail in some cases. Bobbing and weaving. Musical lanes. So if you drive like that, just think about the consequences. In this situation, there's a green turn arrow and this white car up front, for whatever reason, does not want to go. He's getting honked at left and right. Not sure why, but now it's going to be a red light and he's, he basically remained in the intersection, so pissed off a lot of people. This was early morning too, so rush hour. So know what you're doing. Pay attention. Almost moment here. If you see this pedestrian is going to return halfway through, realizing that he's crossing illegally while the other vehicles have a green turn arrow. So this is why you can't just cross the street anytime you want. This guy should have yielded. He thought that's a safe gap. Okay. Point of no return. So I've done these numerous times, but if you find yourself in this situation, you don't have to stop. It's pretty much impossible, okay? Clear the intersection. This is not how four-way stop signs work. So, both of those cars have poor driving habits, but that's how a shit show happens. I've been seeing this more and more, and I've made videos about this previously as well, of people just basically moving forward into the intersection on the red light. It doesn't make a lot of sense, okay? Just wait. Be patient. A right turning lane pass. Not the best move. Kind of dangerous, kind of unsafe, so that's why you gotta look out for bikes and cyclists. This guy is J-rolling, J-biking, cycling, scooting. So that light there, that meant that he was not supposed to be crossing the street. And then skipping forward just a little bit, that's a stop sign, right? So I understand you don't want to wait for the bus. I was already making a lane change or signaling at least. You gotta make better decisions, people. Speaking of scooting, this may happen. Clearly you're going to yield. Not sure if there's person using the road or the sidewalk, but either way, you got to stop in that situation. Okay, here we go. Got something different here. I think they call him an electric unicycle, I believe. Just zipping by. And then we got another scooter. Using the crosswalk properly. And, sometimes if you mess around, your scooter might be downgraded. So, be careful out there. I understand it's fun, but and clearly you're going to yield to the pedestrian at that point. That goes without saying. You can always tell when someone's about to do a U-turn. Just the approach. I thought this guy was going to run a red light. I saw him approaching in my mirror. He did stop. And for sure, we know what's about to happen here. That Burnaby special. U-turn in the intersection. Just stupid. If you are entering from a side street or an alley, at this point, clearly we can see each other. So we've established contact. First contact has been established. You got to be yielding to me. Come on, people. You don't have the right of way in that situation. Just like here, we can see each other. You should be stopping and yielding to me. Okay, that's the whole point of creeping or inching forward. That was not difficult, especially in those situations. Now here, this is some of the craziest shit I've seen in a while. This guy is in the middle of the crosswalk with a baby in a stroller on his phone, Just just hanging out. What are you doing? I mean, maybe he's looking for directions. I don't know, but a sidewalk is a better spot for that. I would be serving his ass some divorce papers right now. Close call coming up here. The first car was definitely okay. The second car, that's squeezing it tightly. So just get behind me, man. Come on. Dumb moves coming up here. Okay. Why not just take the lane all the way and then maybe try to squeeze in there? Nobody was merging. Now you're tailgating two cars. That's not smart. It's stupid. Don't drive like that. Now, some dangerous aspects of my job coming up here, and this happens on the road test actually a lot to a lot of, maybe not a lot of people, but some people. That was a close call. If you're going to be exiting from behind a vehicle or any tight situation, just be careful. Go nice and easy. Look at this guy jaywalking. Could have been bad. This is why you always shoulder check before you make your left turns. Unfortunately, a lot of times people do jaywalk or they cross late, and it just makes things a lot more difficult, especially if you're doing your road test. Similar situation here, right? So, you know, clearly in this situation, the person was crossing towards the vehicle, so that's even easier for them to see, but you shouldn't be at that position. That's not where you wait. Yielding. I get these questions a lot still. So you're yielding to the car coming from the left-hand side, and I'm going to wait before or after the crosswalk, depending how much space I have. You know, as long as no one's crossing, can you block the crosswalk? Sure, but there's an area up there that you can wait for too. So one car in this case, they were clearing the intersection. Now in this case, the cars on the left-hand side have a green arrow, so I'm going to wait a little bit longer, right? So if someone is clearing the intersection, especially if they're on the yellow light or on these green arrows, make sure that you yield in the proper position and wait until it's clear and then proceed onwards. That's the way you do it. A little bit late. For sure was a red light, but not clear, not going anywhere. A little bit of a shocking moment for one of my students. What happens in a lot of these intersections now is where RCMP will walk through and look for people not, you know, wearing their seatbelts or cell phones, or end drivers not correctly displaying their emblems or logos or ends, whatever you want to call them, etc., etc. So what was happening here was a person in the back was not wearing a seatbelt, and could have been overseating too, possibly. Who knows? So make sure that you're ready when you're out there on the road. Okay, be prepared. This is how you do not yield to a bus. Okay, I mean, he could have just moved to the other lane. That would be an automatic fail on your road test, and I know people who failed for exactly what just happened there. So make sure that you're yielding to the bus if they are signaling. Similar situation from the one just a few videos ago. If the intersection is not clear, I'm not going to proceed. I know I'm probably preaching to the choir here, and some of you are sick and tired of me saying this, but still a quite common mistake. And as always, everything is situational. So just trying to show as many examples as possible. In this case, I'm going to yield, let the car, or the big truck rather, clear the intersection, and then proceed after him or behind him. These guys are making the left turn now, so I have what you would consider essentially a protected right turn on the red light. As long as you make a full complete stop and then you get out of there after everything is clear, you're good to go. Why are you passing me on the left side like that? Also, there's a stop sign coming up. I mean, I was right behind that guy 2 seconds later. Now, very unusual situation here. Police presence at the Icbc parking lot, and this was right at the end when my student was finishing her road test. So she actually had to loop around, I think, twice before they found a parking spot. So sometimes that can happen. So again, everything is situational. The parking lot is a shit show to begin with. So lights do not work here. So we are following the guidance of the traffic personnel. So if the lights don't work and there's traffic control personnel, you're fine. If otherwise, then you treat it like a four-way stop. This stop sign here is facing the wrong way, and it's been like that for a couple of months. So it's supposed to be, for me, that's where the stop line is. So clearly it's someone turned it the wrong way, maybe someone hit it, but it doesn't matter. Even if the stop sign is facing the wrong way, you should still go by the line. If there's no line, I mean, sometimes it could be hard to figure out, sure. Running red lights. Okay. Now, also a situation that can occur on the road test or even in real life. If you have an opportunity, you can definitely go around the truck here, though technically that is a double yellow line just meeting up there. It's the end of an island, so I would prefer to wait, and this is what I'm doing here, and that's what I told my student, just wait. The fire truck's probably going to be moving very shortly. There you go. So that only took a couple of seconds, right? No big deal. Plus there are cars on the other side of the road anyway. So in this situation, this car is, I'm assuming, making the left turn. It's a red light. He seems to be working around his trailer, so I thought he was just making a quick adjustment, going to jump back in and proceed onwards. However, he decides to put on his hazards, and now it looks like he's going to be stuck in the intersection. So I have a single white line on my side, which technically you're not supposed to cross, but I don't really have any other option, clearly, so I'm going to go around him when it's safe. And this took a couple of minutes because it was pretty busy, some big trucks coming up, but eventually I ended up making the left turn, from, as that car is doing up ahead there, from the center lane. So it is what it is. Sometimes you just have to read the situation and try to navigate through it to the best of your abilities, and experience is going to be key. As I always say, that's, the more you find yourself in those situations, even though they suck and they can be dangerous, but just, you can use my examples or just try to figure out your own way to get out of there safely, and that's all there is to it. A little bit of jaywalking coming up here. This is 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's, school's out and whatnot, and then this lovely lady just decided that she's going to jaywalk. So pretty stupid, but of course we're going to stop, and people were stopping for her anyways, which that's another story. When you're making your left turns, make sure you keep an eye for the pedestrians. Again, very similar videos to the previous one earlier. Pay attention before you go from point A to point B. That's not a right turning lane. Come on, man, you got a Mercedes. I mean, maybe you think you have special privileges, but it's just not the case. This is the same area from before where the stop sign is facing the wrong way, and we have someone just in the middle of the road, also with a stroller and a baby and a dog. I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know. If you are a cyclist, you're supposed to behave and be treated no different than any other vehicle. So that bike should be yielding to me. So I'm expecting him to, and I proceeded onward. Same in this situation. That's a two-way on opposing sides, not for me. So I have the right of way here. Just because they're cyclists doesn't mean that they have special power. Okay, they need to follow the same rules as vehicles. They just don't, but they're supposed to. U-turn. Yeah. Ubiquitous at this point. If I'm going straight, that vehicle's turning left, my right of way. He doesn't think so. It's an older gentleman. It is what it is sometimes, but also you can see how most accidents can be very easily preventable. Just pay attention. Whose right of way is this? Clearly should have been mine. So, I mean, that guy, that's a rolling stop at best. And again, this intersection is getting worse and worse. Also, very confusing situation. That silver car there should be a lot closer to the center so the cars behind him can pass. It's just confusing. This guy pulling out of the parking lot there, he thought he was going to let him go. Then he has to yield to me because I'm going straight. It just, again, creates a lot of problems. So note what you're doing. Read the road and intersections. And another common question I get is, what happens if there's a train? Well, it really depends on how long the train is and the proximity to which the beginning of the train you are stopping. That didn't really make sense, but anyways, the point is, if you're there just at the beginning of the train, it's going to be one of those long ass trains, then you can throw the car into park, possibly. You can always ask the examiner. Do not turn a car off unless they ask you to, but generally you're not going to turn your car off during the road test. And then maybe put it in park. Maybe you'll put on the radio if you're allowed, or you can just chat, or you just sit there uncomfortably and awkwardly and silently and stressfully. Everyone has a different experience, but at the end of the day, you're going to wait, and this is not going to affect your road test as long as you don't do anything stupid. So it's not going to extend your road test. In most cases, this is actually going to make your road test longer, because depending how long you wait there, now the examiner still has to put you through all the scenarios and maneuvers, and now maybe because of limited time, they might not ask you to do certain things or to ask you to do certain maneuvers. Again, it goes both ways, so everything is really on case to case basis, and everyone is kind of treated as an individual situation. So you just always have to think of it in those terms. Once the train clears, scan the intersection both ways. Make sure that you stop at the stop line, not where that Mercedes is up ahead. I'm gonna let this guy in because he's been waiting there for a while. Whatever, I don't care. Proceed through when it's safe, scanning the intersection both ways. So there we go. That's that. A lot of interesting videos this month rather. We'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.